Well, welcome back to 4F Beauty. When will I be YouTube famous? I don't know. Probably never. Does it worry me? Nah. So long as you're still enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm still enjoying what I'm doing, then I'll keep doing it. Right, today's actually quite asymmetric look has been done with, she said, desperately trying to find a way to put these up so that you can actually see them and that I can get a decent thumbnail without dropping everything everywhere. Wish me luck. Using two blush tribe palettes, the Hasina 2 and the Paulina. Don't think that's going to work holding that there out. There we go. The Hasina 2 and the Paulina, and Oh My Glitter OMG Neon Pigment, and a Jeffree Star lippy. So, if you want to see just exactly how to achieve this very St. Patrick's Day inspired look, my friend, you are in exactly the right place. Keep watching, because here it comes. Hey, welcome back from the intro. If I actually film the intro. The reason I say that is because I've still got a shocking cough on me. And there's the front door. Should we try that again? It's always the way, isn't it? I start filming, either my phone goes off or the door goes or something interrupts me. As I was saying, I'm going to do a bit of an experiment today. Genuinely have no idea how long my voice will last, if my voice will last. And I've got an idea for a look in mind, but it could be an epic fail, in which case you probably won't see this look. I'm going in initially with two different blush tribe palettes, Hasina 2, which is still available, Paulina, which sadly is not. Paulina looks like this, for those of you who haven't already seen my films using her, and Hasina 2 looks like this. Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. Can you guess which colours I'm going to be using? Yeah, thought you might. So, my face is washed, moisturised, SPF'd and primed. I have also, because of tail end of, I thought it was hay fever, I'm beginning to wonder whether I'd got a bit of a cold now actually because of this cough, which just will not go at the moment. So my skin was looking a little bit, that's a technical term folks, so I went in with some of this Revolution Caffeine Energising Essence Spray with citrus extract. No idea if it does any good, but it woke me up physically, even if it didn't wake my skin up. So, on my eyes I have got MAC Pro Longwear Paint Pot in Soft Ochre, which, because it is yellow toned, I only take it up to sort of 2/3 up my eye and then blend it out. Otherwise, if I take it right the way up and blend it out, once I've got my foundation on, there's like a pale yellow creamy stripe across the top there, which I don't particularly want. I've also got two Oh My Glitter OMG pigments out. One I have used before in one of my photo collabs. This is the gold one. This one is her neon green one. So there's a good possibility, if I'm feeling brave enough and if my voice lasts, that I'm going to be using one, maybe both, for this look. Wish me well. Right, I'm going to zoom you in while I do some housekeeping notes. My films are aimed at all skill levels, for complete beginners who've never picked up a brush before to absolute blooming experts. As you can see, I bring you right in close, so even if you're watching me on a phone screen, you can see exactly what I'm doing in terms of laying colours down, how I'm blending them, etc. All of my blending is done in real time, and because of chronic pain, it can sometimes be a tad slow, which is great for the beginners because you can keep up with me. I do both eyes live, I don't do one and then go off and do the other one, so you've got to kind of rewind and replay and keep pausing and everything, which I understand for experts. You're probably going to find that a tad frustrating. Now, either up there or down there is a speed widget, and providing you're not streaming me through to your TV, you will be able, using said widget, to speed me up. Now, there's a good chance the ASMR voice, which is slightly husky ASMR voice today, could end up sounding like a chipmunk. However, that is a risk you will take. Right, when I look straight ahead, you can see that for a start off, that mascara did not come off very well. I was trying a different mascara. I don't like it. It's a bugger to get off, as you can see, even with using an oil-based remover. Anyway, when I look straight ahead with my eyes open, you can see all of my mobile lid from the inner corner through to the outer corner, so I don't have hooded lids. If you don't see that, you have either a half or a full hooded lid, or what's known as an Asian eye. You can still follow my tutorial. I actually blind in this side, but if I cover my mobile lid this side and then close this eye, you can see I've got as much mobile lid again above it that folds back in. So I totally understand the issues that people with hooded lids face, of when you cut your crease, you can't just follow the shape of your eyeball like most people, shimmers transferring, glitters, even when you use a glitter glue, sort of completely splitting and coming off but within a couple of hours. So I totally get that. You can follow my tutorial, you can follow anybody's tutorial. All you need to do is grab a brush, something like this, or a pencil brush, and with the first colour that I use, with your eye open, just mark out where you need your crease to fall. Obviously, by moving that crease up, you're then going to have to use slightly different brushes, so use slightly smaller blending brushes to the ones that I use. Just remember that however wide the head of the brush, that's how wide it's going to blend out on your eye. Alright? Now, I am actually, although none of these are a pressed pigment, because I really want an oomph, smack you in the face colour, again, another technical term, I am going to treat these as if it were a pressed pigment. So, which of those two greens are darker? I think Sike. And is Sike darker than Ri? No, about the same. Okay. Right, I'm going to start off with this brush myself. And I'm going to go into Sike, which is a green like this. If you don't have the Paulina palette, you can use Mahia in Hasina 2, which is only slightly lighter. I'm just going to dip the bristles in, and I'm going to mark out just above my crease where I'm going to pop the pressed pigment, or how I'm going to apply the colour, or where I'm going to apply the colour to. And the same this side. So if you were doing this and you couldn't see any of your lid here, you would just move this line up 4 or 5 mils closer to your brow, making part of your immobile lid a fake mobile lid. I've just cleaned that off on my colour switch, by the way, because I finally got round to getting a new sponge for it. Right, I'm going to give this brush a try. This is a Carla Crease. Hello, focus on the brush, thank you. Carla Crease 515 that I got from Shop Miss A. I'm just going to tap this into Sige, pick up some pigment, and then I'm just going to, rather than like swirl to blend, I'm literally just going to press that pigment along the line I've just made. And because I made the line, I can actually lift my brows up to stretch the lid, and you can see that's how much of my upper lid folds back in. Okay, so I totally understand the issues that you get, and yes, this brush is shedding slightly. It's also slightly prickly. It's the first time I've bought a brush from Shop Miss A. I just wanted to see what they were like. I'll see what she's like after I've washed her. She might be one of these ones that needs a bit of a wash to soften up. Talking of washing brushes, I washed my Jeffrey Morphe real hair brushes. Yeah. To say they look a bit of a mess, it's a bit of an understatement. I mean, I know how to look after real hair brushes. So I washed them and I conditioned them. I had them in these to keep the shape. I don't know if you can see, but can you see some of the bristles are just poking their way out the sides? I don't know if you can see better with this one, maybe, because it's the larger of the two. See how these bristles are all sort of coming out the sides here? They have gone ridiculously. Do you see what I mean about this? It's just, I've had real hair brushes for years that have not gone like that, and that was after one wash. So yeah, definitely not a recommendation. So I'm just popping this to get the first shape that I want. And I'm going to do the same this side. Again, just tapping the pigment on, because it is an unset base, so you can't just sweep yet anyway, because I've not set the base, because I want the colours to be as bright as possible. This Sige is lovely. I must admit, when I first used the Paulina palette, I wished that Sige was a bit darker, just for that particular palette. I mean, there's a darker green and a black in Hasina 2, which I normally use with this palette. I normally use the two together. But obviously, if you're using Paulina as a standalone, that was my only complaint about the palette, that I wished Sige were just a tad darker. And, you know, if that's your only complaint about a palette, you know. And it's Paulina's first ever palette as well that she's done. So I really like it. If you can get your hands on this at all, if it's on a reselling site, or if Blush Tribe, as they do sometimes, they'll move some stock and suddenly find half a box that they'd forgotten they'd got, or that they were going to send out as PR and didn't. And or they'll have one that one of the shades was damaged, they couldn't sell it, and they'll put it up as like a prize giveaway. Absolutely recommend grabbing it if you can. Okay, let's start off with those. I'm just going to use my colour switch to take the colour off of this brush. And I think I'm going to grab, this is one of the Animal brushes. This is the Tapered Blending Brush 6. I mentioned this brush set in my Can You Trust Me? Oh no, my best brushes, which brushes I recommend. This is the set that I'd linked. It is clean. It's just slightly stained from a different green that I used. And I'm going to go into Friends, which is the luminous green. There isn't a corresponding shade to this in the Hasina 2 palette. If you don't have a green like this, if you've got a bright yellow that you can tap into a green and then the yellow to produce this kind of colour, that would be my suggestion. I'm just going to slightly overlap the green there on the corner and just tap that along, and then ever so gentle twirly motions once I've tapped it on. I do struggle here and just here to get pigments to lay down because of creasing on my eyes, so if you see me struggling a bit, it's not the palette's fault, it's my face's fault basically. I'm just going to blend those two colours together slightly there, just to soften the edge a little bit there. Picking up a little bit more Friends just to blend it, and then picking more up just on the tip of these, because this is quite a tapered brush as you can see. Picking up more just on the tip, just running that along the very top, again just to soften the edge of Sike. I might grab a little bit of Sike actually and just twirl it. I have a mixture of both of them on my brush, just because these creases here are making it quite difficult to swirl the colour out the way that I want. Pick up a wee bit more Sike. Tap and blend. That's better. I like. And I'm going to repeat on this side. So again, tap and pat and gently move backwards and forwards before starting the circular movements. I love playing with greens. And I know that Elle from Elle Love Tea loves greens as well, so when I put a picture of this look up, I must remember to tag her on Twitter. She absolutely loves green looks. Now, you know, I don't normally go right up to my brows, but on this occasion I am. I don't usually, but I want to use all of my lid today. Chris and I, that's my husband, we went on our honeymoon to Ireland back in 2014, which was lovely. We went across by ferry. I drove because obviously he's only got a forklift licence, and somehow balancing on the prongs of a forklift going through the country lanes of Ireland wasn't exactly my idea of a honeymoon. And we started off in Dublin at the hotel owned by U2. Didn't see them sadly, although the main suite was actually unavailable at the time we were there, so there's a possibility they were there. But as I said, we didn't see them. But then we were sightseeing and doing the sort of things you do on your honeymoon. Yes, we started off at Dublin and then we went down to Kilkenny. Beautiful little town. I'd always wanted to have a pint of Kilkenny beer in Kilkenny, so that ambition was achieved. And when we explained to one of the bar staff in one of the pubs that we were on our honeymoon, and that was why we'd chosen, or one of the reasons we'd chosen Kilkenny. She's like, would you like a photograph of you standing behind the bar by the Kilkenny pub? And I'm like, oh yes please. People in Southern Ireland are so friendly. They really are. Well, I'm guessing people in Northern Ireland are as well, but we didn't do Northern Ireland, we just did Southern Ireland, so I can't vouch for them. You can see I was just going backwards and forwards with the two different shades until I've got that blend just how I wanted it. Just working on this bit here. This is what I was saying about I leave all the real-time blending in, so that you can actually see how long it does take to produce a look. It's all very well having a 20-minute tutorial, but if it then takes you 3/4 of an hour to achieve the same look at home, it's not much help when you're trying to work out what time you've got to start getting ready for an evening, is it really? Yeah, and then from Kilkenny we had a couple of pint in Kittler's Inn with a Kittler Witch, which was lovely. And then from there we went to Waterford and did the Waterford Crystal Tour. We were going to do Limerick as the last bit, but kind of got screwed by the hotel. They told us they had their own parking, because obviously being disabled, having on-site parking for me is an absolute must. And it turned out that their idea of we have parking was a multi-storey car park about half a mile down the road, and they didn't even have like one floor set aside for them. It was just park wherever you can. So anybody, any ne'er-do-wells from that town would know after it closes any cars that were in the car park are most likely at the hotel. So we decided we didn't want to risk that, and just brought our ferry time forward and came back home early. Right, that's those two colours blended. Just clearing some of the colour off on this colour switch, which, as you can see, deciding to move around with it, which is lovely. And as you can see, it's still slightly stained. Greens and purples do tend to stain, so do reds. I've got a complete separate set of brushes that I use when I'm using Jeffrey's Blood Sugar palette, simply because they stain the brushes so much. Right, I'm now going to go in with the Ranimore or Animal Crease Brush number 8, just like this. And I'm going into Marnie in Hasina 2, which is the darkest one. And I'm going to pop that just on the outer corner here. I think I might need to go for a smaller brush than this actually. And I've just washed the size brush I'm going to need in that one. So let's come across here. This is a tapered crease brush from Coastal Scents. So pick up some of the Mani. That's better, I've got more control over it now. And start to build that up on that corner there. And then I'm going to do the same on the inner corner here. And just carry that colour up just so it just slightly overlaps Sigay, which is the first green that we put down. And then I'm going to run this all along the base of Sigay. And do tiny, 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 tiny little twirly movements. Because this actually, you know, I'm 44, nearly 45 years old. And lost about 10 stone in the last few years. So the skin on my eyelids moves, and by doing tiny little circular movements, you're actually gently moving the skin on your eyelids without putting any stress or strain on them, because I always hold the brush right at the end. And it just makes sure you don't get any patching or white gaps anywhere. Now with this eye, I do have the issue that I've got these super, super deep creases here, because when I was 5 years old, my eye was pulled around an awful lot by the ophthalmic hospital. So yep, nearly 40 years ago, and that's the damage it caused. You can see what I mean about I struggle here to get pigment to lay down. So what I do, once I'm happy with the blend everywhere else, I'll just grab a bit of extra pigment and just tap that on and just gently build the colour back up just by tapping rather than blending. Just going to straighten that edge up there a tad. I do love working with this palette, it's just such a beautiful formula. I've got quite a few Blush Tribe palettes. I've actually got a Blush Tribe discount code you can use. It's not affiliated, I don't earn from it. It's Bomber in all caps, and it's listed in the description box. Right, because of these deep creases, I'm going to mark exactly how far out I want the green to come so it matches this eye. But then unfortunately I have to actually, see what I mean about all this, look? I have to then pull it out straight in order to actually get that to fill in properly. Do not do this if twirly movements will work for you, because trust me, once you start doing this and you get these deep creases, they only get worse and deeper and more difficult to deal with. I'm just going to again tap along the edge of Sigay. with money. Do love this shade. Such a beautiful deep green. When I was at school, our sports kit was bottle green shorts or skirts for the girls and white tops. And yes, I just went straight up into Sigge there. Great. This is what happens when you have chronic pain, and every so often your arm twitches. So I'm just going to take the colour off of that brush for a minute, go back into Sigge, and just blend that little bit back out again, just like that. Now I've got a little bit of fallout here. I do tend to get more fallout with this side than the other eye, simply because it is more creased. But I haven't done my base yet, so it's really not a problem. But if it bothers you, just sweep it away like I've just done. So I'm going to build this back up. There we go. I just love working with greens. I think it really makes my green eyes pop. See, the old advice always used to be, if you've got green eyes, don't wear green eyeshadow because it will hide the beauty of your colour of your eyes. No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. I promise you it doesn't. Right. This is a Spectrum A13 brush, which is a little stubby, chubby little booger. I'm just going to dip that into which I can't give you a different shade from a different palette because it is unique to my collection. I'm just going to pat this. Actually, I might do that all over the lid. Do a completely matte eye. Yes, look how pretty that is. This is a proper teal. It's, when you put it against a green, it looks more blue. And when you put it next to a blue, it looks more green. I like that. So I'm going to repeat this side. You can, if you want to, cut your crease, but to be honest, the blush tribe pigments are so pigmented, you don't need to. You really don't need to in order to cover the darker shade, as you can see. I like that. I do like that. Right. I am going to pop off camera now and put my foundation and everything on, and I will be back for more fun and games. Well, instantly for you. Okay, I'm back. Time for the fun bit that I genuinely don't know if this is going to work. Right, I'm going to zoom you back in again. And I have got a super fine lining brush, like so. You can probably guess where this is going, right? So I'm going to get some concealer, and I'm going to dip my brush into said concealer. And now I've done negative space lines before now. I'm going to try something, to be honest, that's scaring me slightly, so wish me luck here. Because it is St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, so I'm going to attempt probably terribly badly 4-leaf clover. Seeing as how Wales are up for the Grand Slam and the only team between us is Ireland, I really feel quite uncomfortable doing this at the moment. And I'm not sure I've left myself enough space. About to find out. Do you know what? I think I might just about get away with this. What do we think? I feel like I should be putting simply now logical and going, what do you think? All the clover leaves are slightly different shapes and sizes, but pretty sure that's true in the natural world anyway. Oh, I've got to try and get this edited, exported and uploaded before tomorrow. But this could be fun. And if you're asking whether I'm going to do this on the other eye, I genuinely have no idea. Although, probably. My only worry is that going to stand out enough against it? Let's just do the one to start with and see how it turns out, shall we? I don't know why I'm expecting you to be able to answer me. See, normally I would now pat over this with the brush again to take off any excess concealer, but that's not very easy. But I'm still having a go. Part of the fun of makeup is just having a play and seeing if something works out or not. Right, I've got a child's painting thing, and I am going to put a little bit of this bright green pigment into one of the wells. Now, initially, I'm going to see whether this will apply dry. I need to get the lid back on this luminous pigment properly before I drop it, and it goes everywhere. This luminous pigment is OMG Oh My Glitter, or Oh My Glitter OMG. I do have a discount code with them. It is also Bomber all in caps. However, if you use this one, I do earn a small commission. It's entirely up to you. If you wish to use it, you don't have to. So, I'm going to start off using this brush dry, just to see whether the pigment will actually, do you know what, I think it will stick to the concealer. Oh, but I'm getting hella fallout. But it is sticking to the concealer without me having to either wet the brush or wet the pigments. That is good. I do like playing with loose pigments, but they can sometimes be a tad challenging. I think I got that way. This takes a very steady hand, by the way. So if you've not got a very steady hand, try bracing your elbow on the table and bringing a mirror up really, really close. Oh, look at that. Isn't that cute? I like that. Oh, I like that a lot. Now, I'm just going to grab the Asina 2 palette and I'm going to attempt something which could completely bugger this up. I'm going to go into Mani, which is the, or Marnie, which is the dark pigment. I'm just going to try and do a faint line just down the middle of each leaf, clover leaf. Now I've done that, I don't think I like it. See if I can go back over it. Get some of the... Yeah, I can. Good. Don't try doing those lines. Doesn't look too good. I thought it was going to work, but wasn't quite the effect I was looking for. Bugger. Anybody else going for luminous green freckles today? Right. I actually feel like doing something totally different on the other eye. So I'm going to try something again that I've not done before. So, I've got my concealer again, got my little liner brush, and I'm going to attempt a negative wing. This film is going to be so long, I'm so sorry, folks. But all too often you see people do these negative space looks on Insta. Sometimes you see it on YouTube, but they very rarely actually show you it in real time. They go like, ha, ha, and it's done. Which isn't helpful if you want to try and learn how to do it yourself, really, is it? So I'm just going to carefully build that line up. And get it to the kind of shape that I want. Yes, I'm aware it's going green. I have a plan. And again, it may not work. And again, it might. Don't you just love this confidence? But I think it's important to show you that although when you watch these bigger beauty gurus and they go la 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 and make it look really easy, everyone has to start somewhere. And the first time I did a negative line like this was on one of my collab videos. So this is only the second time really, and I'm trying it as an effect. Okay, I think that's the sort of shape that I want. This is so much fun. So, I'm just going to clean this little brush off. And you've guessed it, I'm going back into the neon pigment. And I'm going to attempt a neon pigment wing. Again, I'm going in with pigment dry. Some pigments you do need to wet, or wet the brush. But where the concealer is still tacky, the dry pigment is just clinging to it beautifully. And you can see I'm literally just pressing that pigment onto the concealer and occasionally dribbling it all down my face. Okay. Thankfully, it appears to be light enough that I can do that with it. Oh, this is so much fun. I do love playing with colours. And new techniques. I mean, what you could do if you wanted is use a mixing medium to make this to a paste, and then use disposable spoolie and use it as a mascara. To completely blend the look together. I really like that. And bizarrely, even though I'm normally slightly OCD about things matching, I quite like the fact that I've got a shamrock one side and a wing the other. What do we think? Do we think the other side needs the wing to go with it as well or not? Do you know what? I don't think it does. I'm going all 80s on you and going asymmetric. It's kind of doing my own head in, to be honest, but I like it. Yeah, quite happy with that. Excuse me. Now, the highlighter that I'm going to use is a Colourpop Super Shock Cheek called a Periloon, because it has this beautiful green shift to it, as you can see. This is actually a cream to powder. But before I do that, I do need to do the under eye. So I'm going to grab the Hasina 2, and where's that Spectrum brush I just used? There it is, the Spectrum A13, little stubby bugger. Dipping back into Re, which is the pigment that I used on the lid here. Oopsie. And I'm just going to smudge that right up under the lower lash line. Going about 2/3 of the way along. Being careful this side not to cover up any of our beautiful neon wing. If you're not feeling confident enough to do the wing or the shamrock, you really don't have to do it. You can just leave it like that, do this underline, mascara, highlight, and you're done. But if you do fancy being a little bit adventurous, this could be quite a good way of doing it. And then I'm going to grab, let's see, I'm going to go back in with that first brush that I used. And I'm going to go into Paulina, pick up some Humble, and just very gently run that along the bottom, just to gently smudge out and soften that lower lash line. Oh, it's a very green look I've gone for, isn't it? And if one lash line smudges down lower than the other because you're blind in the eye and have no peripheral vision, so smudge it lower, then just smudge the other side lower to match. I might tidy that up in a minute with a little bit of powder. But for the minute, I like. Right, this is just a really cheap brush that I got off of eBay years ago, because the Super Shock cheeks from Colourpop are actually like a cream to powder. Don't know if you can see as I'm pushing my brush in there. But it is the only sort of cream to powder formula I've used that you can actually put on after you've set your face and everything without it disrupting your base, so long as you use something like this multi-fibre brush, which just seems to give a softer play. But I'm just going to pop some of this in the inner corner, and the reason I do my highlight before my mascara is because I don't want to risk, particularly if I'm using a powder highlight, I don't want to risk it flying up and getting stuck on the mascara. I want the mascara to be beautifully deep and black. I'm just going to do the same this side. I do the around the tear duct here, and I've also found that with my eye shape it's actually quite flattering to come down just under that first third there and continue down a tad. I was going to put some gold on, but I don't think it needs it. Right, I'm going to go off camera, do my mascara, finish putting my highlight on, stick some lippy on, do something with my hair, and I'll be right back. I'm back. I used, as you can see, this has gone on over the base without troubling it whatsoever. And I went in with Jeffrey's Area 51 Bullet Lipstick from his Holiday 2018 collection. Obviously, if you don't have a green lipstick, or if you're not the sort of person who wants to wear a green lipstick, then, you know, match it with a nude, put a lip gloss on, whatever you feel comfortable with. But you know me. If I'm doing green, I'm doing green, people. So, let me know what you think of this little bit different, asymmetric-y type look in the comments below, and if there are any other monochrome looks you want me to do. I know I need to do a yellow one, I've had a request for that. So if there are any other monotone looks you want me to do, then again let me know in the comments below. Right, there you go then. I'm off to go and watch the rugby. Again. And I should be editing this while I'm watching it. But I've got to drive later, so I can't have a drinky. Boo. However, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could hit that like button for me, comment, share, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget to ring my bell. Ring my bell before my voice runs out, and choose all notifications so that you get told every time that I upload another one of these films. And talk of another one of these films, there's an awful lot for you to choose from. Why not pop over and have a look at a few in case there's any that you've missed recently? And if you're new, well, pick a playlist, put your feet up, get comfy, and indulge. And once you finish watching mine, my beautiful sisters from the Beauty YouTuber Growth Group are as ever listed in my description box below, and they'd be delighted to welcome you to their channels and their latest videos. Right, all that remains for me to say, as well as have a fantastic St. Patrick's Day, is you'll stay fabulous, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.